The Unsettling Silence. Chapter 1. The Empty House. I still remember the first time I laid eyes on 1313 Elm Street, a dilapidated Victorian house shrouded in an aura of neglect and mystery. It was as if it had been plucked straight from the pages of a Gothic novel, a relic from another era, frozen in time. The once grand structure now stood with its windows like empty eyes staring at me, taunting me to explore its secrets. I moved into the house next door, drawn to its quiet charm and affordability. Little did I know that tranquility was a mere facade. As a psychology major, I studied human behavior and the power of perception versus reality. Yet here, in this ordinary college town, my research would soon become my reality. The first night set the tone. Utter silence enveloped me as dusk descended upon our quaint neighborhood. No crickets, no rustling leaves, only an eerie stillness that made every creak sound like a scream. As I unpacked boxes under the glow of streetlights, shadows moved within those opaque windows of 1313 Elm. My curiosity piqued. I squinted through the panes. Nothing. I chalked it up to trickery from tired eyes and an overactive imagination. The following day brought a flurry of activity as neighbors introduced themselves with warm smiles and invitations. They warned me about the house's notorious past, its history marked by unsolved mysteries and unexplained phenomena. But those tales were just that, stories meant to intimidate newcomers. Each evening, darkness fell earlier than expected, casting long shadows across the quiet streets. One night, I heard a thud from upstairs. It sounded like footsteps, but when I rushed to investigate, there was nothing. Shadows danced behind closed curtains again, this time with unmistakable grace. My mind protested, rationalizing that the wind must be playing tricks on me. Night after night, the occurrences persisted. In my third week, a muffled voice echoed outside. It was low and raspy, speaking an unintelligible language. I crept to the window, heart racing, yet there stood no one in sight. My sanity began to fray under the strain of the constant anomalies. Why would such events plague me when others didn't report anything similar? The answer lay within those walls. During a torrential downpour, the house seemed to come alive as I peeked through the living room window. Figures darted behind closed curtains. Flickering lightning illuminated ethereal silhouettes and ghostly apparitions that vanished with each flash of light. Fear clawed at my soul. I recalled the neighbors' warnings. There was more than history in those walls. In the early hours, a low chanting seeped through, sounding like an ancient hymn. My sleep grew fitful as the whispering intensified to murmurs, then hushed conversations. A figure flashed by too quickly for my eyes to track. I needed answers and decided to confront the enigma. Through pouring rain, I approached the door, hand trembling as it brushed against damp wood. Nolat, locked. Unbelievable. I awoke at dawn to find my bedroom walls splattered with wet paint, silently bearing an ominous message, "Join US." A shiver coursed down my spine. The words glowed in a phosphorescent hue under the morning light. The whispering continued, now distinct, beckoning me like a siren's call. I had to know what dwelled within those walls, a living being or a malevolent presence. Desperation fueled my resolve as I donned my backpack with an old flashlight and ventured closer to 1313 Elm Street at midnight, rain drumming on the umbrella protecting me from further revelations. Chapter 2. The Whispering Wall. With each step, anticipation mingled with dread. The windows were always closed. Why would anyone willingly trap themselves in such a cold, damp tomb? I approached cautiously, scanning for any signs of life. A sudden gust whipped my hair as I reached the door. A heavy iron knocker resembling a lion's head adorned it. My heart pulsed like a jackhammer when I lifted it. No creak, no response. As I entered, darkness swallowed me whole. With hesitant hands, I turned the knob and stepped inside. Inky blackness enveloped me until I fumbled with my flashlight. Its beam illuminated walls covered in a layer of dust and faded photographs, each depicting people long gone. In the grand room, an eerie chill stilled my breath. It was colder than outside despite rain pounding against panes. The air seemed to vibrate with ancient secrets. I ventured deeper into the musty interior, following a faint scent, cinnamon and smoke, a sweet, unsettling blend. Each step echoed in this tomb of memories. Behind a door adorned with an ancient key, I found a room bathed in an ethereal glow. Paintings adorned walls, capturing scenes from bygone eras. Their subjects' eyes seemed to follow me as if alive. Flickering candles cast ominous shadows. In the center, a worn leather journal rested open on an oak desk. Pages whispered secrets in the wind, tales of rituals and seances. Shadows danced at the periphery of my vision, twists of darkness that morphed into figures when I turned to leave. Then they lunged. My breath caught as two orbs materialized near me. A woman with sunken eyes and a man whose features blurred like smoke in daylight. They beckoned, then vanished into nothingness. Stumbling back toward the entrance, I almost collided with a wooden door that opened by itself, inviting me further. The paint-stained message, "Join US," echoed in my mind as I stepped across the threshold. Chapter 3. The Silent Invitation. In this sanctuary of secrets, time warped and twisted. Candles flickered brighter. The woman and man reappeared before me. A silent entourage of figures formed behind them, eyes aglow like lanterns in darkness. The air vibrated with an otherworldly energy. One whispered, "Join us." It was then I saw her, a gaunt figure in a tattered dress. Her gaze locked onto mine, pleading. With shaking hands, I opened the journal. Deciphering cryptic text amidst the chaos, I uncovered their past, their occult rituals and hidden lives. I learned about Elizabeth, the medium, Henry, an alchemist. They'd sought to transcend mortality, but instead summoned something else. My discovery echoed with each flicker of light. Join us. In my room that night, the message returned, a crimson J on my wall. The whispering intensified, a relentless call from beyond the veil between worlds. I ventured back, prepared to face them, armed only with curiosity and a digital recorder. They led me into their sanctuary, an abandoned nursery turned ritual ground. It was here they called forth what they could not control, a force that twisted reality. As I listened in rapt attention, Elizabeth spoke of her daughter, Emily, taken by the unknown during one fateful night. The room vibrated with a silent chant as I captured their whispers. Join us. They beckoned me closer. In my hand lay a faded photo of an ethereal girl. As I turned, she stood beside me. Your curiosity has drawn you in, Elizabeth said, her voice barely audible amidst the cacophony. The presence, once unseen, manifested, a swirling mist that coalesced into Emily's form, unearthly eyes staring back. It was then they spoke. The veil between worlds is thinning. They spoke of a convergence where darkness awaited, and they needed me to bridge it. My mind reeled as Elizabeth approached, her skin translucent like the walls. I played their recordings. She merged with it, consumed by smoke that became her essence. A gust swept past, leaving behind an infant's wailing cry. A door materialized. The alchemists stood before me. Their world beckoned. With no choice left, I reached out and crossed over. As I descended into the unknown, a cacophony of whispers enveloped me, words now comprehensible. Join us. My reality shattered as darkness welcomed me home to their world, a realm where rituals never ended and hunger for the living persisted, where lives hung by threads and love was but a memory. Elizabeth took my hand. Henry handed me an infant girl named Lily. Together we fled to the door they had come through. Rain lashed against it now. I knew what lurked outside. Their fate if I refused the pact, to secure their world's existence at any cost, with my soul as bait. In that moment, I chose their side, a fragile promise of a twisted love and a child whose future I vowed to protect. In this realm, our fates entwined like shadows in an eternal dance, each breath drawing me closer to both the void and redemption.